Are you ready to turn your passions into profit? Have you decided that 2023 will be the year that you start that side hustle? If so, you need to pick up a copy of Matt McWilliams' new book, Turn Your Passions into Profits. Available now for pre-order with a host of bonuses that will help you take action on the steps inside the book. This is not just a book. If you order it today, it becomes a roadmap with a sat-nav to help you reach your goal. Head over to passionsintoprofitsbook.com/Donna to secure your bonuses until midnight on the 10th of January. Make 2023 the year that your passions become profitable. You're listening to WPC UK, the place to be if you are looking to grow and streamline your business in 2023. I'm your host, Donna Eade, and I'll be walking you through processes, productivity, and planning, along with bringing you business experts with knowledge to share. Let's make 2023 the year of success in your business. To the Wedding Procast UK. My name is Donna, and today on the show we are going to be talking about growing your business with advertising. In particular, we're going to be looking at a few of the different ways that you could advertise your business, what the sort of cost, where they sit on the cost scale, and their return on investment. So first up, I want to look at one of the ways in which we can get business. I think it's the way that we would most prefer to get business, because of all of the benefits of it, and that is word of mouth through our clients recommending us to their friends and family. It's crazy to note that people just don't do it as often as you think they would, or as often as you might like, especially for weddings where it may have been years since they got married and they just, they don't think about it when they're talking to their friends who are getting married, and their friends don't think about asking them. So then nobody gets recommended. You do have it sometimes. People will go, "Oh, who did you use?" And they will go, "Oh, who was it?" And they've forgotten. And it's not because you did anything wrong. It's not because you weren't a fantastic vendor. It's just because time has passed and people's brains just don't keep all of that information. If you were someone who was absolutely outstanding on their day, then they might remember you. But that's not to say that they would remember all the other vendors they had. Looking at all of the vendors that somebody has on a day, it's just not something that they're going to keep in their heads. To avoid that issue of being forgotten, as it were, it really pays to stay connected with your past clients and remind them what you do. So I am mutually connected to one of my past brides on Instagram. She was absolutely my ideal bride, and she still follows me to this day on my account, and we're connected. So I will sometimes send her a message and say, "Oh, really love that picture of you and your pup," or whatever. And sometimes she will comment on things that I put out there. So we have this connection. Now, because I don't do photography anymore, I'm not posting out photography on that account. I'm not mentioning it. So maybe there will become a time where she doesn't really remember how we're connected. I feel like she would always remember how we're connected, but she's not going to be giving me referrals because she knows I'm not doing photography anymore. So it really sort of pays to keep that connection with your clients so that they remember who you are. And it is always good to remind them in that social media world. So making sure that you are putting out on your social who you are and what it is that you do, so that they are reminded when their friends are getting married. "Oh yeah, my photographer was so-and-so, you should go and call her. My planner was so-and-so, you should go and call them." So that is something to look at, just that connection point. Then the other thing of, people just not thinking about recommending you. It's one of those things that it's just not top of mind. There is often times I'm very good at doing reviews for people. So I will go onto people's Facebooks and do reviews for them. I will go onto Amazon and do reviews on Amazon. I will go on TripAdvisor. I'm very good at putting out there these good experiences that I've had, because I know that there is so many, for every good experience that is actually put out there in the world of social media, there's like 5 bad experiences, because people will complain much quicker and much more often than they will praise somebody for doing something well. So I'm always trying to do that. However, a lot of people don't think that way. And I think if they're not in business for themselves and don't understand and appreciate how much a review and a referral can do for you, they're just not thinking in that way. It can be difficult for them to remember to do that. So the other thing you can do is incentivize them to recommend you. So it is worth setting up a referral scheme for your business. And this doesn't have to be anything elaborate. I mean, it could be as simple as, for every referral, you will give them a £20 Amazon voucher. Or if you know that they particularly love getting their nails done, you'll give them a £20 voucher for their local nail salon or the salon that they use. That if you know they particularly like massages, that you give them a £20 voucher to a beauty salon that does massages. These things, like, really, if you can hone it into the type of person they are, and if you've done their wedding, you should have got to know them quite well and know the things that they like and know what might appeal to them. A voucher for wine, or there are so many different things that you could do that would give them that incentive to recommend you. The thing is you can't just set up one of these programs and then just expect the referrals to come flooding in. You need to remind them of this, because they might not have anybody in their circle who's engaged right now. But in 6 months' time, somebody might get engaged. Or in a year's time, somebody might get engaged. Or they might not know anybody who's engaged for 2 years, by which point they have definitely forgotten about your referral scheme. So you need to keep them in the loop. And if you can build, I think, like a community around this. So it doesn't have to be a Facebook group or anything like that. But if you can get permission from your customers to add them to your referral program, and therefore your email list for your referral program, or your WhatsApp broadcast list for your referral program, then you have the opportunity to contact them. So every time somebody refers you somebody who you book, and you pay out the vouchers on bookings, not on referrals. I mean, you can do it on referrals only, but that depends on how much you're charging and what a lead is worth versus what a conversion is worth to you, and how you sort of judge that prize that you're giving, that voucher cost. You can send out broadcasts, and I say broadcast because I think people are on their phones a lot more. People get so much spam in their email. If you can get to them outside of that, and not like hugely often, maybe once a month, you just send out a broadcast and you say, hey guys, don't forget your referral program means that you're going to get a voucher for XYZ or whatever it is that we've agreed, because you could have it written down somewhere, if so-and-so refers, they get a voucher for this, and you can have that written down, their preference. So you can just mention a few or whatever it is that we've agreed if you recommend somebody who books a wedding with me. And you could then also say, big thanks to, and name the people who have already referred you and that you've given vouchers to. This makes it a little bit of a competition. It's a little bit of well, I want my name on that list. I want everybody to know that I've done it. And you don't have to put last names. I mean, you can say, you're on this list. Are you happy for me to share your name when I'm talking about the people who have recommended me? And you can get the permissions. But just seeing that list of names, it's like, for me, I have a group that, I've spoken to you guys about it before. We had Carly on just before Christmas. Carly has a group and I love being in there. And every month she lists the top 10 contributors to the group. And she gives out a call with her live in the group to talk about your business as a prize to the person who wins the wheel spin for that. So she puts all those 10 names in and somebody gets 5 names, the top 5 names in, and they get the chance to talk with her live on her group. So I see that every month, and every month I want my name in that top 10 list. It's just this, it's competition in my head. It's not necessarily that I want to beat other people, although I was number 1 last month. I put that down to the fact that I had COVID and couldn't do anything else but sort of sit and bum around. But I was number 1, so I was pretty chuffed about that. But when you see your name on a list of people that have done something good, it makes you feel good. So people are going to want to see their names on that list. So it gives you this opportunity to just reinforce and remind people that your program exists. That way you are much more likely to get those referrals. So that is word of mouth referrals there. The next one is your website. So your website is a lead generator for you if you've got it set up correctly. Your website is your shop window. Your website is that advertisement in the World Wide Web. People walk down the high street, they see the shop windows. Those are the advertisements for those shops. Your shop window is your homepage above the fold on your website. So it's really important to sort of look at this and make sure that it is fresh and up to date. If it's been the same for the last 3 years, it is time to change it. And not because, we're lucky in the wedding industry that people are coming to our websites and it's a start and finish kind of thing. In that respect, we're lucky, because if they came to our website and they've got married, they're not coming back to our website again, generally speaking. So you don't have to kind of worry about it appealing to the same people and being fresh to the new people, but there is a need for it to look fresh in the eyes of Google. And there is a need for it to look fresh in the eyes of the way the internet is going. When I first started in photography, all photographers' websites were black with white text. They were all like that. If I did that now, it would look so dated, because now photographer websites are much more clean lines, white backgrounds, lots of empty white spaces, and then their photos in big headline pictures that are moving across the screen. Whereas before it was just like little pictures, click on the gallery sort of thing. So websites change, and what's attractive to people changes. It's a style thing. It's very much like fashion, except luckily for us, it moves a lot slower than a majority of everything else these days. So you don't have to change it every 6 months. You don't have to change it like the fashion seasons change it, spring, summer, autumn, winter. You don't have to change it that often. But if you haven't changed your homepage, above the fold especially, because that's what everybody lands on, in a while, then it's time to look at that. Give it a fresh new look. Maybe change your theme, maybe change the colours that you're using. And not to say that you move away from your brand colours, but maybe you use them in a different way. So if you have got your main colour as a banner colour, maybe you change that out for a different one of your brand colours, or maybe you invert it so that whatever was the background colour is now the text. However you want to do it, change the images. If there is an image up there, get a new image up there and just freshen it up, make it look fresh. And the other thing is SEO, search engine optimization. It is so important for your website to rank on Google. And getting rankings on Google, especially in the wedding industry, is so difficult because there is only so many ways you can say wedding planner and everybody else is using those ways. So it is very difficult to get that kind of recognition. And the more you can niche, the more you're likely to reach out to people who are looking for the service in that niche. But that is a smaller pool of leads. So you still have to be looking at appealing to a wider audience. Not to say that you shouldn't niche down and just focus on those people, but making sure those niche words are in your SEO will really help to make sure that those people see you. Have a look at that. You might want to talk to an SEO expert and have a look at your website. Just get them to have a glance over. Maybe just get them to look at your homepage and say, okay, this is what I want my homepage to do for me. How can we adjust it? You don't need them to go through your whole website. If you can get them to go through your homepage with you and show you where you're going wrong, you can then go through the rest of your website and say, okay, so taking from what we spoke about, what can I apply to the rest of my website to help it? Because every single page is an opportunity to attract a new client. So every single page should have your contact details on. Every single page should have a call to action on it, because you don't know where people will land. They're not necessarily going to land on your homepage. If they're looking for something specific, they might type in a keyword that is so obscure, but you mentioned it in your blog post. You did a blog post on it. So they land on your blog. You know, they might not even see your homepage. They might then instantly go to your About You page. They might go to your packages. They don't even see that homepage. So it's really important to make sure that you are following through with the good practices on SEO through every page of your website. Make sure your contact details are on every page, and make sure there is a call to action on every page so that you can move them through your website in a way that is going to help them make an informed decision about whether you are the right person for them to contact for their wedding. The next way we can advertise is online ads. So posting on social and getting others sharing on social is a free way to advertise your business. There is definitely more people buying from social media these days, and it is likely to only trend upwards. So being present on social media is definitely worth it. However, sometimes it isn't a very measurable avenue of advertising. So you're not necessarily going to, you'll often get people come to you and you'll say, where did you hear about me? And they're not going to be able to give you an answer. This is, sometimes it's a good thing because it just means that you are in the right places. They can't remember where it is that they saw you, but they saw you and they liked you. However, when it comes to sort of knowing your return on investment, sometimes social isn't that obvious whether it is or not returning for you, because people don't always remember that that's where they saw you. So that is the free way. And if you can get your clients to share you on their socials and tag you, then that is really useful because it drives everybody on their friends list, on their follow list to you. So even if they haven't got a friend who is getting married, like in a real life circle of friends that is getting married, they might have somebody on their socials that is getting married. And you can extend that, it doesn't matter where the lead comes from if it's a word of mouth referral. So if you can say to people in that monthly broadcast, don't forget, share your favorite thing about working with me on your wedding on your social media this month, get entered into a draw. So you could do a monthly draw for the social media post, and then any referrals that come through, if they can say, oh, I saw you on, so-and-so posted about you and I saw it, and so I wanted to come over and talk to you, then you can give them the referral bonus as well. So not everybody is always going to remember that they saw it on their friend's wall, but by entering them into a draw, you're giving them that option to win something, even if they don't necessarily get that referral link because the people don't remember that they saw you through their friend. So, there are ways and means of getting people to share about you, and they can share every month. It's not like it's a one and done thing, because at the end of the day, I mean, if they share it as a story and they tag you, then that's gone in 24 hours anyway. And I would put a time limit on it. I would send your broadcast out sort of on the last day of the month, and then say if you share between the 1st and the 7th, because if you've got 7 people on your list and they all share on a different day, then you're going to be in somebody's story for a whole week. And it depends on how many customers you've got in your program. It depends on how many of them are on social media. But if you can sort of channel it into that first week of the month, say anytime between now and the 7th, share on your stories or in a post something you enjoyed about working with me, or what it meant to have me do X for you on your wedding day, and I will enter you into a draw. Don't forget, you must tag me so that you can have people come over to you. You will then have this extra traffic coming to you in that first week of the month. So you can then plan your social media accordingly to make sure that you are putting out stuff in that first week that is going to help people know if you're the right person for them. You can tailor your content in that first week to potential new customers. So, your first week is about getting them to follow you so that you can show them more stuff. It's getting them to interact with you. So maybe you do a poll that is, are you getting married in 2023, 2024, 2025, beyond? Whatever it is, do a poll, get them to interact with you when they land on your page, and they're more likely to stay. And then they see the rest of your content as well, and you've got more chance of converting them. So, word of mouth referrals coming direct person to person or through social media are great ways of getting more qualified leads, because if they're friends of your client, they're likely to be similar people to your clients. And if they are coming through a recommendation, they are more likely to convert at that point that you ask for the sale. So those are great ways. Obviously, online ads also include things like Facebook ads and Google ads. So Facebook ads, I find that the lead ad worked quite well for me last year or the year before. Can't remember when I ran it, but I did a lead ad which worked quite well. You might find that too, if you have a freebie that you can give out to somebody and get people on your email list, that might work really well. Also, ads directing to your website, you can look at how that might convert as well. Google ads, unlike Facebook ads, where Facebook is kind of throwing ads in front of people that haven't asked for it. We're on Facebook because we want to talk to our friends. We want to see what our family's up to. We want to check out the latest episode of Red Table Talk. I don't know. We're on Facebook for other reasons. We're not usually on Facebook to buy things. Now, you might be, because you might be on Facebook Marketplace or something, looking for a particular product, but we're not really on Facebook going, who's the best wedding photographer in Northampton, and expecting an answer back from Facebook. That's not what we're typing into Facebook, but we are typing that in to Google. So if you are doing a Google ad, you are more likely to get seen by people who are actually searching for what you are specifically offering, rather than people that Facebook think might be interested, because you have got to really hone your Facebook ad, and not everybody puts their relationship status on Facebook, so you're not necessarily going to hit everybody who is engaged. You could put it to people who have been in a relationship for 5 years or more. That doesn't mean that they're intending to get married anytime soon, if at all. Then you have to sort of put people who are looking at X, Y, and Z. So you can go to the things like, these are my clients. They like to shop in this store. They like to eat at these places. You can do that. But unless you know their relationship status, it's not guaranteed that it's going to hit the right people. So they are fairly cheap if you do them right. You know, they're kind of good value in that respect, but you're not necessarily going to hit the right audience. Whereas Google Ads, you can rank for the search terms that relate specifically to what you do, and people who are searching for that are going to be the ones that find your ads and nobody else. So somebody who's getting married in Scotland isn't going to see you come up in Google if you are based in Luton, for example. So it's definitely worth talking to a professional. I am definitely not a Facebook or Google Ads professional. I have never done Google Ads. It scares the bejesus out of me. So definitely speak to a pro before you go setting those up, because you can waste an awful lot of money if you don't know what you're doing. So the other way of advertising is what I call real world media, and that is in the form of magazine adverts. So you can advertise in wedding magazines. Now, wedding magazines I don't think that they will ever kind of go out of fashion with brides. I think there is really something that's almost a rite of passage for brides to sort of go into the newsagents and just grab every single wedding magazine off the shelf, go home with a cup of tea and just look through them all and devour every inch of those magazines. I think it's a rite of passage. However, I don't know about you because I don't know your financial situation, but when I was looking at those magazines, when I was engaged, when I was 21, I didn't even consider the people who were advertising because I knew they were going to be way out of my budget. Now, whether that's accurate or not is another thing, but that's what I knew looking at those adverts. I was like, advertising in magazines is expensive. That looks like a really expensive photo, or that cake looks really expensive. I'm never going to be able to afford that. So I wouldn't have even dreamed of picking up the phone to somebody who advertised in the magazine. That is not to say that magazines are a complete write-off, because if you can get into the editorial pieces in a magazine, then you might be seeing some traction. So if you can get into some real weddings and get those weddings featured in the magazine and get your name in there, then there is a higher chance of people feeling that you are attainable to them. So if high-end weddings is where you're at, then I reckon magazine adverts will probably work well for you. You've probably got a much larger advertising budget, and therefore you're going to be able to put in what is needed from those mags. So for me, when I advertised in a magazine, I was told you need to advertise for at least 3 months to sort of gain that familiarity in the magazine. I would say you probably need a lot longer than that to create that brand awareness from an advert. I also think that the quarter page adverts don't really do you or your business justice, and really you need to be looking at a full page or more to really have that impact and lasting memory with somebody who's reading the magazine. If they read the same magazine every month and you have that same image in there, then it's more likely to resonate with them. I think 3 months is a little short on that, and I know they were just doing it to try and get me to book for the 3 months, but my honest opinion of it is that if you're going to do that kind of advertising, you need to be in it for the long term, and you need to be tracking your responses from it. You really need to hone in on your ROI for magazine adverts, because there is no way of telling. If you don't put a code, definitely put a code into your advert, quote this code when you call, you've got no way of telling whether that advert is actually performing well for you. So there is definitely something to be said for magazine advertising. If you are aiming at high-end brides, I think it would probably work well for you. I wasn't aiming at high-end brides, so I did do an advert, I think, once when I was a photographer. I didn't see anything from it, but I think I only had half a page. I can't remember, guys. It was a long time ago, but you definitely need to think long term. I would say 12 months would be the goal, and you need to look at that budget and whether you could spend that budget better elsewhere and get a better return on investment. I would hazard a guess that the same budget that 12 months worth of magazine advertising spent on Google Ads would probably do you more good. But if you can get free editorial, then I would say go for that. Go for the free editorial. If you can get your name in a magazine, then that just helps to create brand awareness along with everything else you're doing. So looking at the costs of these, magazines are definitely the most expensive. And if you don't put some sort of code in there, it's the least measurable. You've got no idea who's coming to you from that ad. So it's really important to make sure that there is a code. And even then, there will be people again that come to you and you say, have you got a code, or did you hear, or where did you hear about us? They're still not going to be able to answer that question, because people just don't, they will write numbers down in their wedding planners, and then the original thing is no longer in their viewpoint. So when they call you, they're like, I have no idea where I found you. It's not something that they do. And maybe I should create a planner that has that as a column, name, phone number, where you saw them advertised, just so it can help us out. But yeah, so magazine ads are the most expensive. Then the Facebook online ads, they are free to mid-range, depending on whether you get your clients to be promoting you on social media. The rise of micro influencers is growing. So even though your past clients might not have thousands of people on their list, it's only got to land with the right person. So definitely a great way to look at getting more leads into your business. So Facebook ads and Google ads, they're kind of the mid-range on the pricing. You can go higher, obviously, but I would say it is really important to get a professional eye on your ads before you set them live, because you could really be wasting money. Even though it's mid-range, it could be a complete waste of money if your ads aren't set up right. Then your website, that is a low-end cost. Like, that is really, really great way of advertising your business. It is measurable. You can have your lead magnet there. You know how many people are hitting your site with Google Analytics. So you can really sort of see how your website is tracking and what it's doing for you. And you can get a website really cheaply. So you can get URLs through GoDaddy or 123reg or a number of other places. They are fairly cheap, sort of £10 a year to £20 a year, something like that, depending on what your URL is. And then your website, you need a host and you need your SSL certificate, and all of that comes at quite a low cost in comparison to other ways of advertising, compared to other ways of advertising. And then the cheapest, and I would say the best way to get leads into your business, to advertise your business, is through client referrals. If you can set up a referral scheme that works, then you are going to just have leads continually coming to you from people who you enjoyed working with, because you don't have to offer your referral program to every bride and groom. You can offer it to those clients who are your ideal clients, and they will be recommending you to their friends who are likely to be similar people. So you will get more clients that you really enjoy working with. And if that keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, then you're just always going to be having a wonderful time at all your weddings, because you're working with your ideal client every single time. So that is the overview of ways you can advertise your business in 2023. I'm sure there are more. If you can think of another way that you advertise, or another way that other people should think about advertising, then please share this episode on your social media and share your idea. Tag me, Donna at SPWV. I would love to see your thoughts over on social. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, please share this episode with somebody you think might find it useful. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button where you listen so you know when I next upload. I will be back next week. I will see you then. Bye for now.